How's it going, everyone? NizM45 here with some more Star Trek Online. Alright, so today we are going to be playing Unearthed In Shadows, the last Foundry mission that I've made. We have a few days before the Foundry is, well, going to be removed from the game, and I wanted to record the last Foundry mission that I made, so that's what we'll be doing today. Once again, like my other few videos, this video is going to be pretty much completely uncut. There may be like a few cuts here and there, just because doing a lot of reading like this does tend to make me tired, but regardless, I want this to be a full, whole experience, and not just like my edited stuff that I normally do. So anyway, we received a communication from Starfleet Intelligence from Commander Burgess, so it's good to see you again. However, I'm sure you're already aware this has nothing to do with catching up on old times. Starfleet Intelligence has a mission for you. What's the mission? Now that the Iconian War is finally over, Starfleet Intelligence has been primarily focusing on the present Nakul threat. While the majority of our assets are in play towards that objective, we still have a few teams dedicated to our deep space listening posts. Starfleet has deep space listening posts? Yes, with the combined efforts of both the Klingon intelligence and the Republic intelligence, our ears are many and quiet. That sentence makes no sense, but go ahead. The majority of our posts were deployed with the purpose of intercepting enemy transmissions, hails, warped signatures, etc. You get the idea. One of our older unmanned stations posted in the Vorn sector. It was deployed a long time ago during the Borg threat at the time. 18 hours ago, it became active upon detecting an unidentifiable microband transmission. You see, that's where things get interesting. The transmission has distinct wave elements most commonly used by old Romulan Star Navy warbirds. However, upon closer inspection, there were anomalous, I can never pronounce that word, foreign data patterns encoded within the waves. Our team suspect there is some sort of work of the Tal Shiar. Are the Tal Shiar still a threat? For the most part, no. After their Empress, Sayla, was exposed as the indirect reason Romulus was lost, not much of the Tal Shiar and their remaining Romulan Star Empire loyalists were disbanded. I apologize for my reading. I am rather tired, so I'm going to be screwing up a lot during this video. So, yay. Okay. There are, however, a few rogue groups that still follow their own ideals, or the ideals of Sayla herself still. We have our hands full with the current threat issues of our time. You've dealt with the Tal Shiar in the past, so you were chosen to pursue this issue. Captain NizM45 of the NX Mahalo 3 has also been assigned to this matter due to their history with the Tal Shiar as well. NizM, I know him! Yes, I'm aware. That's because you are him. Anyway, I've read the reports of Admiral Chote and Captain 45 wrote up on the incident with the Tal Shiar cloning facility. Your assistance in those events is another reason you were chosen for this assignment. What do you need me to do? Our listening posts calculated that the wave transmission originated deep within an uncharted areas of the Patron cluster at the edge of Borg space. Your mission is to go there and investigate the source and report back. The NX Mahalo has received the same orders and will rendezvous with you there. What should I expect? Personally, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If a rogue Tal Shiar group in the Patron cluster, they're probably trying to retrofit Borg technology again. Scout the area and see what you find. With the current state of the Romulan Star Navy, I'll doubt you'll see much resistance. Yes, sir. Okay, report back when you have something. And so yeah, we're going to be just going right on into the Patron cluster. Weird, my engines were going full speed there. So anyway. Commander Burgess has sent us to rendezvous with coordinates in Mahalo 3. Yes, we get her. So, Unearthed In Shadows was the third Foundry mission that I made. The first one was Darkness Under Veil, which revolved around my characters and my bridge officers, NizM and all his bridge officers, and their origin story, and you as the player got to be alongside them. The second Foundry mission had nothing to do with the first, which was Brother Spitting, which, by the way, I apologize for the previous video, since it got kind of messed up. When I uploaded it, I didn't pre-watch the video, unfortunately, and thought everything was alright, but unfortunately it only uploaded half of the video, for whatever reason. I actually had to re-export the entire video to fix the issue. Not sure what happened there. I think my computer was running out of memory or something, but anyway, I re-uploaded the video, so if you missed that, or if you missed the ending of that video, you can go to the to my previous video and see the rest of it. So anyway, Fleet Admiral, the Mahalo 3 is hailing us. Fleet Admiral Charlie, it's been a long time. I've been told by Commander Burgess you would be accompanying us today. So one of the things I want to just mention quickly is, let me bring that up again, actually. In the description of this, I mentioned that this is a mission sequel to Darkness Under Veil. While it's recommended you play the prequel first, it's not required. I primarily made this story where you didn't really have to know anything from the previous episode to play this particular mission. Unfortunately, I did miss a few things, like this one in particular, where Nizam is saying that he already knows you, essentially, where if you've never played the previous mission, you've never met this character. So, anyway, it has been a long time. The Mahalo 3 has gotten some upgrades, and by this time, in actual gameplay, I had moved on to the pilot escort instead of the Aquarius, even though the Aquarius will always be a special place in my heart. So I moved on to the Mahalo 3, which is my current ship that you see in my videos. So, anyway, we got some upgrades. Yes, I was curious if you would notice it or not. The girl's latest Starfleet model. It's unfortunate that Mahalo 2 has been dry docked, but I suppose even its origins had to catch up with itself sooner or later. Its origins? Oh right, you weren't. Never mind that. That was a little bit of a reference to the very first video on my channel, actually. So if you want to know about that, I actually made a whole little mini movie using demo record and I think parts of the Foundry, actually, way back when, and that discussed the original origin story for my ship. So, anyway. Alright, what's our status? Sorry, my voice is already starting to dry up. Oh boy, water! And we're only 8 minutes in. Oh boy, this is going to be great. Well, we arrived here a few minutes ago ourselves. My astrometrics officer, Urez, tells me there are faint Imperial Navy warp signature traces within the vicinity. No active ships, however. This nebula is interfering with our sensors, though. I'm afraid we can't be more specific than that. We're running low. We're still running some scans of the area, but data is coming in slowly. We should have something more concrete soon. In the meantime, why not conduct scans of your own? See if we can't get better idea of what we're getting ourselves into before we proceed further. So, as I was saying while we were loading into this map, this is the sequel to Darkness Under Veil. So, I came up with an equally cheesy title, Unearthed In Shadows, which means pretty much nothing. I remember making this map, actually. It's just a normal space map with a whole bunch of debris and rocks and stuff. But one thing I always liked doing was adding multiple nebula effects. So you can kind of see, similar to my warp trails, there are a bunch of fluidic space warp trails in the background as well. So there's that and other nebula things. I thought it made a pretty interesting nebula kind of look that we don't really see this effect used much else in the game nowadays. But anyway, scans are conclusive to Captain 40 Ives. I'm detecting multiple Imperial Navy ship signatures. About 4, maybe 5 of them were here. The nebula seems to be causing a lot of interference, though. The signatures are too dispersed at this range to get a briefing. We need to get more data. So, like with most things in Star Trek Online, this is fly around and click things and scan things until you get what you need. So, this episode was made probably, hold on. This episode was made, I know this. It was after the Iconian War. It was after the, wait a minute, was it? Yes, it was after, so I had made this Foundry mission shortly after the Iconian War was over. So that was season, 9 or something? I don't honestly know. So this was shortly after midnight. I think it wasn't Future Proof. It wasn't Survivor. What was the one episode? Alright, the Delta Quadrant came after that. They've screwed around with the timeline of these missions so much. I forget what came after what. It was the Delta Quadrant missions. It was not Reunion, Revolutions, Glarus, Capture the Flag, Dragon's Deceit, Alliances. What's Left Behind? That's it. think. I don't remember. Anyway, it was the one where we found out that Van Ziel had been taken over by those brain worm things or whatever. And that's essentially where I got a lot of the ideas for this particular episode. Was we mentioned a lot of things about the Imperial Star Navy in that episode, and like here, patterns obviously suggest Imperial Navy warbird at source, but the underlying anomalies within the wave data. I've managed to isolate the patterns of the anomaly, and its formation is sporadic, almost as if it was viral matrix data. Computers don't recognize it as nothing in our databanks. However, that could just be because it's so faint. More so, the pattern could have been dispersed by the nebula. Right. Sensors just picked up a second distress beacon from a disabled Federation ship. Not the Mahalo 3. I can't identify which ship. Identify the ship from this range due to the interference. It should be close by though. So I was really inspired by that particular episode, just because it was very fun. That was a very fun episode that I liked. Anyway, then there was this. Oh boy, it was hard actually in the Foundry to find a good-looking ship that was destroyed. Honestly, because they were all like Excelsior classes and stuff, like because they were all props that are used over in Wolf 349. So, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and scan the distress beacon. Well, here's the ship, or what's left of it, the USS Fernandez, Excelsior class, crew complement of 135, under command of Captain Jeremy Torn. Logs indicate the Fernandez was deployed during the beginning of the Iconian War to the edges of the Patron cluster on a routine patrol mission. When they didn't report back, rescue teams were sent looking for them. After 2 weeks of patrols, they classified the ship as missing in action. They activated the stress beacon. Why did no one come to help them? I doubt anyone could find them. The only reason we did is because we're in such close proximity. The nebula is interfering with a lot of subsystems. The distress beacon's strength is being diluted by the nebula before it has a chance to go very far. Are there any survivors? It appears their work core is long offline and they've vented atmosphere to 90% of the ship. I'm not reading any life signs. Escape pods? Fernandez black box indicates the escape pods were ejected 3 months ago, sir. I always felt a little weird writing that part because, like, geez, that means there's escape pods with 135 dead bodies just floating around in space. I always thought that was a little gruesome that I wrote that, but I was still rather new to writing back then. You'll obviously be able to tell that by the numerous spelling errors that you'll see throughout this. Anyway, their logs indicate shortly before their warp core went offline, they were attacked by a Quas-class Iconian cruiser. It seemed they had exchanged fire and disabled the cruiser, but not without taking crippling damage in return. Make a log, the Fernandez crew deserves at least that much. So I made that particular response in kind of referencing the one episode. I forget what it was. It was a time travel episode, Voyager, where the civilization essentially wiped themselves out with this time energy or whatever, and by the time that Voyager was done being caught in this giant time loop, there was nothing left. And so Janeway just makes this comment, make a note in the logs, the civilization shouldn't go without notice, or something like that. So I wanted to kind of reference that. Another thing that we're going to be obviously seeing in this episode is the Iconians. And they were rather new to the Foundry at the time, so I enjoyed adding them to the Foundry since they were brand new props and things. So the Mahalo 3 is hailing us. Fleet Admiral, I see you scanned the majority of this field. Have you found anything? The destroyed Federation ship, not far from here, the Fernandez. Fernandez? I knew someone on that ship. Were there any survivors? No. I see. We found something on our end rather interesting, to say the least. We're close by. I think you should check this out too. Copy that. We're on our way. And so, once again, we've moved so far away that the original Mahalo that was way back there has been despawned without our notice. And now, these three have just spawned in. So we got the Mahalo, a Tal Shiar warbird, and an Iconian cruiser. A Quas cruiser, by the way. I had to actually look it up on the wiki at the time to figure out what the name was. Despite that it should be obvious since you fight so many of those things during the episodes. But sir, are you seeing this? That's the Iconian cruiser Quas class by the looks of it too. I'd be willing to bet the ship with I'd be willing to bet that's the ship that Fernandez fought back during the war. Sensors indicate... I'm sorry, I saw something out of the corner of my eye down there. I was in the Hollow 3. I was like, what the heck? I don't know why that... Anyway. Sensors show that the cruiser's engines and multiple critical systems are disabled. They took heavy damage, it seems. Looked like the Fernandez pulled no punches. Are there any life signs? Amazingly, yes. There appear to be a few dozen life signs still aboard the cruiser. I have no idea how they could have survived all this time, dead in water like this. Wait, that's strange. The life signs don't appear to be Iconian or Herald. Hail them. I added just this thing, just because it was the only, non-human thing that was also not a console that was available in the Foundry, which turned out pretty good. I like how it looks. I thought it looked pretty cool, especially with how blurry it is. It looks kind of cool. Anyway, either their comms are down or they don't feel like chatting. I'm also detecting a disabled Romulan Navy a combination of those words, Warbird. It appears they've sustained heavy damage. Certain the Hollow 3 is hailing us again. I don't know if this is what we're looking for, but I'd say it's too blatantly different from space junk and rocks to be out here to not be. We just took a detailed scan of the disabled Warbird. Seems their singularity core is offline, along with life support. They appear to have vented atmosphere to the majority of the ship. No life signs left. What happened to them? I'd like an answer to that too. My first officer, Commander Gareth, just did some research on the Fernandez you mentioned before. The ship that ship went missing over 3 months ago, and this Iconian cruiser went near offline around the same time. The scans tell us this Warbird was recently disabled, within the last few hours, as a matter of fact. We have a third party in the mystery, it seems. I believe the third party you're speaking of. What? I believe we... Oh, jeez, I'm stupid. I need more water. Hold on. I knew that was coming, and so I wanted to be all grandiose and be like, haha, I'm the villain here, and I read the whole sentence wrong and just made it stupid, so... Anyway. This is the beauty of making unedited videos. I believe we're the third party you're speaking of, Captain. Sir, a Romulan Warbird is decloaking. The Cestron 4! There we go! Which is hilarious because in the last episode it was just the Cestron. He's gone through 4 ships, just like Niceham's gone through 3 Mahalos. Anyway. Sir, that ship just decloaked appears to be a Fiat class Warbird. I can never pronounce that word. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm reading their engines are currently offline and have suffered minor damages. Their life support systems to be unstable, though nothing appears to nothing a repair team couldn't fix. Unidentified vessel. This is the USS Catnip 4, the Mahalo 3 of the Federation. Please identify yourself and purpose here. You know what's hilarious? A Romulan player can play this, so it could be a Romulan ship that they're saying is part of the Federation. Granted, you'd have to be a Federation-aligned Romulan player to play this, but still, kind of funny, I guess. Anyway, relax, Fleet Admiral, I recognize that voice. I can't imagine not recognizing it, obviously. Captain, Nazem45, funny I'd figure our paths would cross sooner than this time. But I can't even judge myself perfectly all the time, now can we? You really enjoy mixing first and third person pronouns in your sentences interchangeably when it's between us, don't you? Fleet Admiral, this is Valar, my Romulan clone. This clone is from the Tal Shiar base long ago? Yes, this clone is the person you're speaking of, Fleet Admiral. After I spoke with the Federation Council about your unique situation, our unique situation, you pretty much dropped off the edge of the galaxy there. What are you doing here of all places? I'm guessing the same you and Charlie are. However, as much as I would love to catch him on old awkward times, our life support systems are on the fritz right now, and my engineering team is injured. Would you greatly mind if we do this on your ship? I'd rather not suffocate today. Well, of course. We'll send an engineering team over to help with repairs. In the meantime, we can transport you and your command crew over to our ship to discuss the situation. Charlie, I'd prefer if you joined us over here. Maybe we can finally get some answers. I'm on my way. So, completely useless waste of 20 minutes there while we go and talk some more before we do stuff. Because this is Star Trek, and this is real Star Trek, and we gotta talk about it before we can do anything. We don't go in guns blazing first like we do in regular Star Trek Online. This is Foundry Star Trek Online, so we gotta talk before we shoot people. That's how things work. something you'll find throughout this mission is that Valar and Garen, the clone versions of Niazim and Gareth, if you haven't watched my previous videos, are a lot different in terms of personality than they were with the last episode. Primarily, I wanted to make Valar a little bit more. Not, I want to say edgy, but that's not the word. It's like less serious, while slightly more deadly kind of version, if that makes any sense. So anyway, we're going to talk to everyone on the crew. So hey there, Yurez. So we got to speak with Nizam and Valar over there, but we'll get to them last. So Fleet Admiral, thank you for coming. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this situation now. Was there something you needed? Can you remind me of who Valar and Garen are? This will give you a nice synopsis, I'd imagine. I don't really remember what I wrote, but anyway. Valar and Garen are the clones of Captain 45 and Commander Gareth over there. They were a byproduct of undercover cloning research station ran by the Tal Shiar a long time ago, under the command of Subcommander Kiana, or more ironically, a clone of her. The Tal Shiar plan was to clone the captain and commander, encasing their valuable memories in indoctrinated versions of their clones, to use them against the Federation and joint alliances. Thanks to a tip from the Ferengi Madron, Kiana's plans were extinguished. The research station was destroyed, none other by Valar himself. Typical 45. Although indoctrinated, Valar and Garen broke free of the Tal Shiar's mental grip, and thus posed no threat to the Federation or their alliances. The captain has some influence in the Federation Council when he wants to, so he was able to free the two of them. After they were free, they just disappeared. Last Valar said back then he had plans to meet up with someone to start a crew. I think it's that guy with the tattoo around his eye over there. Since those events, and this is the first we've seen or heard from either of them. Thank you. So once again, a little bit of a joke here. This is Tovin. That's Satra over there. And if you ever made a Romulan character, obviously you get the joke here. But anyway, hey there, Tovin. What's up? Yes. I have a question for you. You're part of Valar's crew. I am. Valar initially contacted me, and he was still in the Tal Shiar cloning facility. Apparently he made plans to escape that wretched place long before Captain 40i found it. For me, I was looking for a crew to join after I lost some of my family in the Tal Shiar attack some time ago. Valar had an interesting offer, to say the least. I had nowhere else to go, so I decided, why not? What's with that look? You act as if you've heard that story before. And so, ironically also, if you've ever seen... I don't know if I have any, story missions on my channel that are of my Romulan character, Valar. If I don't, I really should make one for a while. And I haven't in a while. I haven't in a while just because he's really underpowered compared to Nizam, and I like destroying things with one shot, so haven't played as Valar in a while, but this is actually what Tolvan looks like on my bridge crew and what Satra looks like over there, and same goes for Garen over there and Valar over there. So anyway, is Satra a part of Valar's crew? Satra, she's a refugee. Like me, she was attacked by the Tal Shiar and had nowhere to go. Valar here rescued her as her science officer. You look very familiar. You know, you're not the first person to tell me that. Inside jokes that only I get. I love it. Anyway, I guess that joke wasn't an inside joke that I would get, but you understand. I reference a lot of my own stuff, which makes me really narcissistic. I think that's the right word. I don't use adjectives very well. Anyway, Fleet Admiral, long time no see. What can I do for you? I have a question. What's your job here? I'm the lead operations officer of the ship. I help out engineering from time to time, but my place is usually on the bridge and on away missions with the captain. I've been a member of his crew for a while now, especially since that's also referencing that, Zosov was the second bridge officer I ever got on Nizam. Similar how to Rishi, who's not here at them. Oh no, yeah, Rishi's over there. Rishi was actually the first bridge officer. So that was back when Andorians, and a female tactical Andorian was your first bridge officer, a male engineering Andorian was your second, and then a female science Trill was your third. That was back when the original Federation tutorial was out long ago. About 6 years ago now, I think. Anyway, what's Garrett's job? The big guy is the captain's first officer. He has the best job of us all. He gets to shoot the guns on the Mahalo. You know, when he's not in the mess hall, that is. Gareth has been a part of the senior staff for a long time. Not as long as me, though, granted. And Yuris? Yuris is the common astrometrics lead scientist here. The captain hired her because of her advanced skills in deep space science. She's a real asset to the senior staff. And Rishi. Rishi is the... Wait, did I? Yeah, okay. I was worried there for I misspelled Rishi's name. Jeez. Is the first officer that 40 I've hired. I believe they initially met in New Kittimer when they were under attack, once again referencing the old Federation tutorial. She's the best pilot in the quadrant. If she could fly the Mahalo too, I'm sure she can fly just about anything, I'd say. Also, I changed Zosov's personality. He was a bit more gruff in the last episode, so we're gonna get a brief chat between these two. So we'll talk to Garen first. Neither Gareth nor Garen notice you and continue talking to each other. I can't believe you're still a part of 40I's first officer. With how much you put up with, you should have your own ship by now. Hey, come on now. Nizam is the one who saved you and Valar, remember? Not to mention he's my friend, our friend. The guy flew the smallest, weakest Aquarius escort in the Federation for years and hired an unfit Academy flunk out as his first officer. Yeah, you know, us. Okay, maybe you have a point. And just a little fun stuff, since I wanted to do this at the end of Darkness Under Veil, but I never ended up doing so. So I added these two just bantering between each other in this one. So anyway, geez, it's been a while now. I figured we'd parted ways since the last time you would have tried to lose some of that weight. You obviously have. Never mind. So anyway, we're going to talk to Captain 40 and Valar now. So, thank you for joining us, Fleet Admiral. I was just about to ask Valar what he and his crew were doing in the middle of nowhere, like before. I mean, I wouldn't come to uncharted Patron cluster or space for vacation, so... Always with the jokes, aren't we? Anyway, not that my crew is in danger of dying, let's get down to business. I assume you were present in this area of space on some sort of Starfleet intelligence mission to investigate the wave transmissions that were broadcast from here not long ago? Don't bother with the details. I'm sure your Federation classified the mission like they always do. Typical. I too am here to investigate the transmission. The Republic Intelligence assigned you to this? Yes, they did. I'm the one telling the story here, though. Don't get ahead of yourself. After we parted ways last time, and after we picked up haircut over there, talking about Tovin over there, my first stop was to pay a well overdue visit to Commander Talmera. She's a member of the Republic Intelligence. That is an actual NPC in the game that you meet on the Romulan faction, I think. It has been so long I don't actually remember, but that was an important person, I think. Anyway, she sympathized with my and Garen's situation and donned us with the new official identities to allow us free roam and to save us from any miffed Tal Shiar still left. Apparently, our new names came with a contract I forgot to sign. Someone in Intel later contacted us by giving us a name of Kamek, audio only, gave us an assignment to investigate a stray wave transmission he had sabotaged from whoever was in the system. Right, Kamek. Kamek was an important character that you actually did meet in the Iconian War, I think? Oh, no, the episode I was thinking about was Uneasy Allies. Weird. Anyway, no, you meet Kamek in Uneasy Allies as a Federation, but you actually meet him far earlier in the Romulan story. He's a Romulan intelligence spy that is a very high-ranking officer in the Tal Shiar in the storyline, and so you kind of get on terms with him later on. But anyway, gave us an assignment to stray away from blah 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 blah. He said he wanted us to a job to do mine Garen's unique history. That's a bit ironic, isn't it? This Kamek fellow is apparently deep within the trash that remains of this Tal Shiar, loyal to the end, I suppose. He instructed us to meet him here for a joint operation, but I don't particularly care being told what to do after all, so as soon as we got here, we opened fire on all of the Star Navy ships. So that warbird outside is your doing. Yeah, might have gotten a little carried away on that one. There were only 5 ships here, planned to disable all of them and find Kamek and stop whatever loyalists were doing. Easy. Needless to say, things didn't go as planned. 1 ship, 5 vessels, really? To be fair, those are odds I would fly into. You're not helping. Cloned minds think alike. You were able to determine what the Tal Shiar was doing out here. Oh gee, I forgot to ask during the firefight. Of course not. The cowards warped out before we were done with them. Our engines were shot so we couldn't chase after them. Sensors were knocked offline shortly, so we don't know where they went either. So we're back to square one. I said I didn't know where they were going. I didn't say I didn't have an idea. The piece of space junk out there, before we were shot full of holes, they were conducting very detailed scans of the Iconian cruiser, sending teams back and forth. Once we finished, the remaining crew evacuated onto it. What would the Tal Shiar want with a dead Iconian cruiser? The cruiser isn't completely dead. Many systems are still online, and thanks to Valar here, it was the only safe haven with a breathable atmosphere and light years. As for what they were doing beforehand, I don't know, but I don't like the sound of it. The Tal Shiar are known for cannibalizing others' technology for their own use, creating usually unstable hybrids. If this rogue group is operating under their own agenda, as an Iconian cruiser, we could be looking at a very big problem. Couldn't have said it better myself, even though I did. Regardless, there are still a few dozen Sela worshippers on that cruiser. I say we pay them a visit and find out what they were up to, and where their little gang rang off as well. I agree. Let's investigate the ship and see if we can find out what's really going on here. Charlie, you lead the charge. We're ready to head out whenever you are. Yeah, let's go then, because I need water. Oh boy. Okay. I hope you can see, like, what I was talking about when Valar, his whole personality has kind of changed from the original time I wrote him. I kind of liked Valar this way. He's a little bit more reckless. Reckless, that's the word I was thinking of. If I had to liken him to, like, a character or something, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of a particular character in other medias. No, I can think of one. I'd imagine him kind of like the new version of Harry Mudd that we've been seeing in Star Trek Discovery. Kind of a little like that. Like, obviously powerful, but also really kind of a jerk and funny at the same time. But anyway, Fleet Admiral, we beamed you and your away team into a mostly empty storage area near the middle of the ship. Scans show multiple hostiles nearby. Keep an eye out. Copy that. Geez, this place is even more of a dump than I expected. I know this hunk of space junk has been here for a while, but you'd think those Iconians would build something that would stand the test of time a little better, you know? It looks like the crew has been busy for a while. There are a lot of supplies here, more than I would expect they could have taken with them when they evacuated their ship. It seems they've been working here for a few days at least, maybe a week. Rashid, check the perimeter. If the Tal Shiar are nearby, I'd rather not be ambushed. Fleet Admiral, you and your group should have a look around too. Let's see what we can find and find out about the operation here. Tal Shiar we're conducting before we go in guns blazing. Alright. So I had fun making this particular area. I liked making ground areas and maps that hid kind of the stuff that was issues with the Foundry. You know, how everything kind of felt very flat with the Foundry in that sort of sense. So anytime I got to add like spatial distortions like we got here with the kind of heat wave signatures where everything you're looking at on the screen is kind of wibbly wobbly, the ashes in the air, it all made it a little bit more atmospheric. And I also wanted to do this since the whole ship is kind of disabled, that we have low gravity in this area. So we're going to be doing this whole map in low gravity. So I thought that was kind of fun. But anyway, we're going to check the onboard, what was that, onboard sensors? Onboard logs? I didn't read it. I found records of the Tal Shiar were riding as they worked here. Apparently, when they arrived, there were still a few heralds left aboard. With the interference with the nebula, they were stranded and unable to call for help. It says with the cruiser in a weakened state, the Tal Shiar were able to upload out-of-date Borg nanovirus into the cruiser's system and fill the air with uninhabitable atmosphere to kill the remaining heralds. Seems the virus worked farther than they thought And the virus is still active in the system. It's not altering the life support systems anymore, but it's affecting other key systems such as shields, artificial gravity, and pattern scramblers. Artificial gravity is broken? That's why I feel so weird. I mean, I'm not complaining. I haven't felt this light since the Academy days. Me neither. And then we have some other stuff that we're going to hear. Oh, Yura's. Where's Yura's? Oh, over there. These Tal Shiar crew members are dead, Fleet Admiral. I'm no doctor, but by the looks of it, each of them seem to have passed rather recently. I'd assume as a result of injuries contracted during the initial attack on the Warbird. If not, the atmosphere here might have gotten to them. I'm reading moderate amount of chemical emissions throughout the air. If the Tal Shiar were coming here, surely they knew about this. They probably did. After the ship was destroyed, this was the only air left around. Poison or not, it was their only option. The airborne particles are toxic, but only to prolonged exposure. We'll be fine as long as we don't stay here too long. And then we can scan some of the crates and help Satra, who's searching them. Okay, never mind. I thought there was going to be text there. Oh, there were multiple crates. I should really read the thing over here. The crates around here are filled with various Borg tech parts. There don't appear to be any rhyme or reason to them, however. They're all different, ranging from prosthetic arms to ship's guidance system control modular. Whew, that's a mouthful. Arms to a ship's guidance system control modulators. And anything else in between. Wait, no, there's one thing in common. All this technology seems to be from older Borg models. These prosthetics date back to 2371. I could have guessed as much from our guest over here, the Borg drone in this alcove. This seems to be deactivated or in stasis. This pod looks like it was just ripped right out of some wreckage carelessly. Why would the Tal Shiar want with all this old Borg tech? I'm not sure. The rest of the crates contain basic ship supplies they must have beamed over in evacuation. I can understand those, but all this data tech, it just doesn't add up. Captain, I just finished scouting out the area. There's some Tal Shiar in the corridor and the rooms connecting here. However, there's a force field blocking us from them. Ship sensors are online. It wasn't affected by the virus. They knew we were coming, obviously, and decided to hide. I've hacked into the ship's controls from this terminal. Give a word and I can drop the force fields. These rogue Tal Shiar don't seem like the brightest bunch. I'd like to point that out. Garen, lower the force field. Fleet Admiral, go ahead and scout the rest of the ship. See if you can gather any more information before we head out. We have some info, but still no leads as to where the rest of their original group ran off. We need to answers. Maybe some of the remaining crew will have them. Alright, so there we go. So, yeah. One of the things I always enjoyed about doing this was once again a bunch of Iconian stuff had been added to the Foundry shortly around this time, which inspired me to do this whole episode. So I really wanted to do like the Iconian interiors. If you don't recognize this particular map, this is actually the map that at least I think this is the same map that I can't remember if this is a variation of the map or the same map that is in the fleet spires for your fleet. But yeah, and then I just added a bunch of like rotting tech and junk and stuff around, and like that was always cool. I loved decorating places in the Foundry. Like that was such a cool, fun thing to do. So also, I'll talk while we fight. One of the weapon I'm using, I got a bit of an upgrade, considering since the last time I played Foundry. Since the last 2 episodes, I've been severely underpowered and have died actually multiple times, and I didn't really want to do that this time. So also notice I'm not able to. Interesting. I guess you can't go into aim mode whenever you're in zero gravity. Oh my. I always did have a penchant for making very difficult ground portions. I know that much. But, oh, Victor's dead. But oh well. Today we're using the Thompson submachine gun that was from the First Contact mission that came out shortly before I recorded this. And it's a pretty powerful weapon, so I wanted to use it during this because, well, all the other guns that I have on Charlie stink. So I needed something that was at least moderately powerful that could help me get through this. Ground portions of my missions were never made for the faint of heart. I will say that. You see what I mean about fighting in zero-G? It's just fun. And it's so unfortunate that we don't get to do this more often in Star Trek Online. Like how you see like the different characters like bouncing around while they're shooting and stuff. It's just cool, you know? Azila and Victor were dead, and it looks like Bukio is dead as well. Oh well. Morley's taking care of it, so. Oh, that's right. There was a Borg back in the main area. Also, there's loot back there. I want it. I don't have frost boots. Dang it. I don't have frost boots. I wish I had frost boots. You can actually use frost boots in zero gravity situations here. Oh, by the way, that's the Borg drone that I was talking about. That Tovin was talking about a moment ago that I neglected to show you guys. But anyway, back into this main area, we can see that the Tal Shiar have been very busy at implementing their always on-hand Borg technology into the ship's systems. I will tell you, getting this whole thing right here to fit into the center was an absolute pain. I remember centering this. I don't know why, but like the pivot points and stuff for like placing objects was so weirdly off balance for a lot of these objects back in the Foundry. So anyway, we're gonna go see what this Borg drone is up to. Also, this was a cool chance for me to get to use the really very rarely used old style Borg. It's really cool. I love the old style Borg. They look like the ones from the television shows, and not like the zombie Borg that we have nowadays. And that Borg in there was supposed to be floating, but I guess that animation's been removed from the Foundry long ago. Anyway, hold on, but I need more water. Okay. Data logs on this console indicate that the Tal Shiar group was researching prosthetics of infected Borg bits of... I'm sorry, what? Restart that sentence. Okay. Was researching prospects of infecting bits of Iconian technology with older Borg technology. There we go. That's how you speak English. Anyway. It seems that these drones were programmed to do. That's what they were programmed to do. I'm seeing override controls enacting on their functions to assimilate this Iconian console. Isn't that what they did to kill the heralds that used to be here? Similar, but not quite. It's one thing to infect a system with a virus and override its commands. It's another thing to entirely assimilate a piece of technology. The assimilation process is more like merging rather than overtaking. It doesn't seem like they were very successful, though. It appears this drone next to us has been attempting to assimilate that console for the past 5 hours. It does not appear to be making progress. What about the other two on the floor? Records indicate their processors were infected with Iconian counterviruses that were embedded into the system for a cause like this. I suppose those drones were the unfortunate first and second test subjects to assimilate the Iconian technology. The Tal Shiar must have been learning as they went. So the Tal Shiar were trying to force older Borg to assimilate Iconian technology? It would appear so. I can only imagine it's for some sort of gain towards their cause. To what end, though, is just beyond me. Sir, did you hear that? I heard moaning coming from the opposite side of the room. I think we should investigate. I always thought this thing was cool. That's actually the effect for... Actually, it's multiple effects, as you can tell by the floor that's glowing there. That's actually multiple effects for a warp core that I think may have been in What Lies Beneath. In that old mission, I think. Not sure. Where... You? No, you! There you are. Hey there, Tal Shiar Commander. Sup, girl? So, come here in person to finish the rest of us off, did you? Who are you? I'm Commander Talura, captain of the IRW Real, or better known as the ship you obliterated outside. What's wrong with you? I was in the firefight. I was hit with an explosion from the console. At least I will die knowing my comrades escaped their grasp in time, even if it was the cost of my own crew. The remnant Star Empire will live on. What were you working on here? I have no words for you, Federation scum. Sir, if the captain still believes the rise of power of the Romulan Star Empire, it would probably mean that the rogue group still holds hope in Sayla. Perhaps you can use that. Leave me to die. So this is one of those times, once again, where you have to pick the diplomatic option to progress the story. Otherwise, the dialogue chain resets and you gotta start all over again. So, you believe Sayla's... Tell us what you're doing here. That's the bad option, by the way. You still believe Sayla's plan to save the Romulans? The Empress has led our people from the shadows and back into the light. Romulus will stand once more by your hand. There's nothing your Federation can do to stop it. You don't honestly believe that. Sayla abandoned you and the Tal Shiar. She fled when she was exposed. The Empress has her flaws as well as we all do. Her ways are just, though. Romulus was taken from us. It must be returned. Enough, we need to answer. Sayla is the reason the Romulus was lost. Surely you must see that. Regardless, time can be rewritten, history books unpenned. Do not count me as a fool. I know Sayla's actions. While she herself was incapable of completing our righteous goal, we can bend the Iconians to our will, and we will have them renew Romulus for us. Then you know that's impossible for the Iconians to do. What? What do you mean? Time travel destroys Iconian brains. They couldn't restore Romulus even if they wanted to. Impossible. This isn't true. You lie. It is true. Everything you've been here for is for nothing. Then Romulus is truly lost. More Romulans could die if what you're working on here is finished. What were you working on? We were conducting a salvage operation. We came across this cruiser and seized the opportunity. After infecting the ship with a virus, we attempted to use Borg technology to assimilate the Iconian technology. Why? Iconian technology is centuries more advanced than anything we have now, but we found that using older Borg technology allowed the assimilation process to proceed easier. Ironic, the Iconians, such an advanced race, susceptible to something they felt too demeaning to protect themselves from. What did you hope to achieve from all this? You ought to know the answer to that question. To save Romulus, to bend the Iconians, force them into our submission. We plan to use the assimilated Iconian technology against them as a weapon to all who oppose us in our quest to restore Romulus. If the Iconians catch you using their technology, your people will be facing a war with them. We felt prepared. We were nearly done with the prototype. Where's this prototype? Where the rest of my comrades fled to. There's an outpost behind the wake of the second moon in the Pilatus system. The prototype is being built there. Please. If what you say is true, our actions will only cause more harm to my people. Although corrupted, it's admirable in a way. Talura was willing to do anything possible to save her people from her people's homeworld. We should inform the rest of the group of the location of the outpost she told us about. We can tag Allura and beam her away to sickbay. I think there was a... Oh no, we don't tag her. Okay, bye, you're gonna die. Anyway. More water. Oh boy, I'm drying out so fast. This is what talking for 48 minutes does. Okay, this is going a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. Anyway. I think, yeah, during this time, the Nizam we originally talked to, had beamed out, and now we get to talk to him again, so, anyway. What, the Pilatus system? That makes sense. The Tal Shiar have had dealings there before. It's not surprising a rogue group would set up a base of operations there. What of this captain, though? She was injured. We beamed her to our sickbay. No, we didn't. We left her to die back there. Anyway. Well, isn't that sweet of you? I'm sure to send her a get well card. So, we have the location now, and I've been contacted by the Cestron 4 that your engineers have repaired our engines. We're ready to assist you in going after the rest of these rogue Tal Shiar. Oh, but first, what should we do with these ships out here in the middle of nowhere? I say it's not very wise to just leave them. I've downloaded all their data. There's nothing worth taking left. I say we blow them both up. Oh, I like that idea. I agree, we can't leave these ships for other Tal Shiar groups to find, or anyone else who would use them for that matter. We'll destroy them both as we beam aboard the remaining crew. Ship scramblers are down, so that shouldn't be an issue. Fleet Admiral, I'll leave the job to you. And so I always kind of dislike this part, simply because the next map only has like one interact. before warping to another map. And unfortunately, like the way the Foundry worked, load times are always a real pain. They always take like about 10-20 seconds or so to load from map to map. Or worse, honestly. But anyway. I am not used to talking this much, so I get very dry. My throat gets very dry very quickly from talking for this extended period of time. Most missions in Star Trek Online, official missions, are much significantly shorter than Foundry missions and don't make you actually read everything since people actually have voice acting. So we're going to beam the rest of their crew. And unfortunately, I couldn't... I wanted to be able to destroy these ships using your actual weapons, but the functionality to add enemy NPCs that would not fight back were removed from the Foundry years ago, mainly because people were exploiting that to make grinding missions where you could just kill and kill and kill and get tons of loot from enemies that would never retaliate. So the devs removed that years and years ago, so unfortunately there's no way to actually do that, so we're just going to click fire weapons, which destroys both of the ships. Well, wasn't that fun? Now, let's go see our strange friend Kamek is still alive in the Pilatus system, shall we? You see what I mean? Anyway, we're ready to head out when you are. Well, they will follow us. Okay, yes. And so we're going to go over and warp to the Pilatus system. Now, I forget where the Pilatus system is in the galaxy map. I mean, I could look, but I'm not going to. So, I think the Pilatus system was actually another map that you had some sort of dealing with, either in a story mission for the Romulans, or it was a patrol mission. I forget which of the two, but it had something to do with Tal Shiar at the time. While I was making this whole mission, I wanted to include, like, the Iconians, I said, but since it was Nizam we were talking about, I wanted to include the Tal Shiar as well, just because I really enjoy those characters. So, and I thought the two very differing species interacting, especially with Borg technology, was kind of interesting. So, we arrived at the Pilatus system, sir. Sensors aren't picking up any Tal Shiar ships in the area. Do you think that Talura lied to us? Talura did mention it was in the wake of the second moon of the system, sir. I'd imagine that if that was the case, the moon might be hiding any Tal Shiar from our scans. I recommend we investigate the moon to see what we find. Agreed. Understood. We'll be on our way. We'll meet you there. So, you might be noticing that these two ships are flying towards the area that we're supposed to go. These two ships are on patrols that are set way over there onto that moon over there. I found out that it is nearly impossible to get ships to actually fly towards specific locations. It was a real pain in the butt to get that to work at the time while I was making this. Since I don't really understand to this day, well, not that it matters anymore because the Foundry's gone, how the waypoint system worked. So getting them to actually fly towards your destination was a bit of a pain. The thing is, though, once you reach your destination, I think either they turn around and go back, or they just keep flying on forever. And so, regardless, the whole point is you're supposed to be significantly faster than them. And just say, like, oh, we'll catch up, and, kind of classic stuff there, so. And so, interesting thing with this station, actually, which I'm sure some of you might notice, that's actually the top of Deep Space Nine. But without the rings. So it makes for an interesting looking station. Anyway, unidentified ship. You are trespassing on claimed space in the name of a Romulan Star Empire. Leave immediately or vessel will be destroyed. You have been warned. Fleet Admiral, that must have been the base Talura told us about. It's far larger than I expected. Scans of the moon indicate trace amounts of topoline ore veins concentrations on the surface. No wonder our sensors weren't able to pick up on the base's location. I'm sure topoline was actually a thing in canon Star Trek that disables sensors, but I honestly don't remember, so I'm just going to take my past self's writing's word for it. Sir, I'm getting a hail transmission from the station's carrier wave. It doesn't appear to be coming through like the previous warning message we received a few moments ago. Put it on screen. Valar, I'm glad I I was not expecting you. My name is Kamek. I apologize. I can't go into much further details at this moment. I don't have time to speak before others start to notice my disappearance. You're the operative Valar was trying to contact. So you are working with him then. Good. I assume he read you in on the details. Regardless, the previous plan to derail the Tal Shiar's intentions have failed due to Valar's actions in the Batron cluster. Thankfully, I have devised a new plan of action. The situation will be launching an attack squadron towards your position momentarily. Disable them. I can disable the station's internal systems to allow you to board. We must eliminate all remaining evidence of the Tal Shiar plans utilizing Iconian and Borg technology together. Wait, what's your plan? What about you, though? I'm afraid disabling the station's systems is the best I can do. As for the plan itself, I am in an interesting position at the moment, to say the least. I'm afraid you will have to learn more later. No, whatever happens, though, we both fight for the same goal. Transmission ends. Well, that was strange. That was the Republic intelligence spy Valar mentioned before. I wonder what he meant by what position he's in. Sir, I'm detecting multiple squadrons Tal Shiar ships headed for our location. Finally, space combat! I want to do that ability because I don't know what it does. I never use my engineering ultimate that you get at level 65. So I want to use it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what effect it's having. But it looks cool. So, you know, that's something, I guess. The ship is having a rough time being destroyed there. Can you die? Thank you. Ah, tractor mines. Oh no. Okay, they're gone. Okay. That's the last of the Tal Shiar squadron, it seems. There are more ships ready to be deployed, but they aren't arming them for some reason. Sir, sensors are reading the base's shields and transporter scramblers just went offline. It seems Kamek came through with his end of the plan. Hail Captain 45 and Valar inform them of the situation. So, our friend Kamek is still kicking, eh? Well, that's pleasant to hear. Sorry we missed the fight. Garen felt it was a good idea if we checked the array for any other Tal Shiar scout ships. In doing so, we missed out on all the action. Thanks, Garen. It was your idea! It's like listening to an old Earth sitcom on my own crew. Fleet Admiral, if Kamek lowered the station's defenses, we have an opening to take advantage of. I recommend you and your away team beam over and handle the situation. Whatever position Kamek is in, he no doubt needs an extraction by now. The Cestron 4 and my team will remain out here in case any more Tal Shiar launch from the station. Understood. Yeah, let's go. And beam down with a regular away team. So yeah, it was fun using the Deep Space Nine inner ring as part of a new station. I don't know why that's a separate object in the Foundry, but I'm glad it is, just because alone it doesn't readily look like it's part of Deep Space Nine. Only after you kind of say that it's part of Deep Space Nine do you recognize it. Obviously I added more things to it. I added like some pieces and parts and blinking lights and stuff, and also some of the hangar bays that were connected to it. Since admittedly it looks very Cardassian in design and not very Romulan. Alright, so Fleet Admiral, the Tal Shiar don't seem to have raised any sort of alarm. I believe they don't know we're on board yet. Scans of the area are picking up multiple Tal Shiar hostiles nearby. We need to deal with them before we start snooping around the station's systems and get rid of any remaining Borg Iconian adaptation research they still have. So yeah, we're just on one of the classic Romulan maps, though this particular one is actually supposed to be part of a space station, as I think there's a window somewhere around here. So we're gonna just use the ultimate there. I don't know why I called it an ultimate. It's my secondary fire of the Tommy gun. I do really like this weapon. It is a really cool weapon to have. I don't know if I was gonna say that I don't really know when this video is going to go out. Obviously on Monday, but I don't know which Monday. So if you haven't been able to get the whoa, okay. Ouch. If you haven't been able to pick up the Tommy gun from the First Contact Day event, I definitely recommend getting it in the future if it's ever added to the Phoenix box, if you can, just because it is a really fun weapon to play with. I'm about to die. There's one thing I don't like about it, though, is that it's very difficult to actually kill enemies with it. At times. I love the chasing orbital strike beam. There we go. Whew. Leave it to me to make the most absurdly complex and not complex, but absurdly overpowered ground fights. I've never been good at making ground fights. That's a foot. But yeah, you can see the system right outside, and the rest of the station. That was actually an entire space station. Or actually, no, wait a minute. It's not a space station. Now I remember. That's actually part of another warbird that's a ground scale ship that's outside that makes it look like it's part of the station. So that was actually a fun thing to do. And this console is backwards, unfortunately. But anyway, we got to defeat all the Tal Shiar before we can actually do anything. So that was 2 groups. And there's another group right down here, which I'm going to start spraying down. That secondary fire of the Tommy gun is just so satisfying. There's another one here. Oh no, we got him. Okay. And then there's the last group right down here. Oh boy, that's a lot of them. Oh no. They fail on pulse to me. Oh no, I'm gonna die. I hate that ability. It's not fail on pulse, it's the hypersonic radiation. I hate that ability. I am going to die. Oh my word, I'm gonna die. I'll just put some mines down. Some of them will probably walk over here. Okay, that's all of them. Cool. Okay, so we're going to make our way back, since that's where the next objective is going to be. Okay, that appears to be the last number for now. Sir, before we destroy the remaining research of the station, I recommend we download what we can to send to the Captain before. Starfleet Intelligence will want to see what's been going on here. Download the remaining search. So yeah, there's a number of Iconian consoles scattered around the area. After we get this one, we download the research data. Right. Getting ahead of myself. Okay. Alright, so we get to read some of the research data of what they've uncovered while trying to assimilate Iconian technologies. Anyway, during a salvage operation to obtain ship wreckage in uncharted Patron Cluster territory, one of our scout ships came upon a disabled Iconian Quas-class cruiser. Research teams have been dispatched to the coordinates dictated by the scout to evaluate the scene and the possibility of cannibalizing parts for the ship. Amazingly, I read that fairly fluently. Wow, I'm actually impressed with myself. Scans revealed the remaining Herald crew were still aboard the ship. After analyzing the cruiser's system capability, the IRW Ventros transmitted an encoded Borg nanovirus from 2371 to the ship's system. Under my control, the virus altered life support conditions to neutralize the remaining crew. I took great pleasure in telling the subcommander keeping the virus in a contained system on the ship would prove to be useful one day. Salvage operations to adapt Iconian technology to our own systems manually have proven implausible. As head researcher, I have taken the... Oh my word, I need water. One moment. Okay, sorry. As head researcher, I have taken the lead in this situation. After the use of Borg nanovirus on these ship's systems, it seems only logical other Iconian technology might be susceptible to Borg technology from 2371 as well. Borg technology from 2371 appeared to have the desired effect on Iconian technology as we were hoping for. The Borg adaptation process is slowly eating away at the Iconians' firewalls like termites to wood, which I don't know how Romulans would know about termites, but, that's fine. Progress is slow but quite promising. At this rate, we will have enough information and malleable Iconian tech to outfit one of our warbirds for testing within the week. The IRW Ventress systems malfunctioned earlier this morning and sent out a distress signal broadcasting our position to deep space. The transmission lasted for only mere seconds. I wouldn't be worried about this, but the IRW Ventress systems were currently undergoing preliminary outfitting of what adapted Iconian technology we were currently have at hand. This can't be good. Looking back on it, that makes no sense, because I specifically mentioned with the USS Fernandez that the nebula was interfering with any transmissions going out. So there's no way that a warbird could have transmitted something to deep space and it actually go out. Then again, now I think about it, that's just kind of silly. Anyway, death will come to all who oppose the Empress and the Romulan Star Empire. An unidentified Republic warbird opened fire on our ships only hours ago. They must have picked up that malfunctioned transmission. We've been separated from our comrades on the IRW Real, and our leader, Commander Talura, the next in line, has taken her place. We've taken what data and research we can. Thankfully, the Ventress is still in one piece and is undergoing repairs as we speak. We shall avenge our fallen comrades and then assault the Iconians themselves. Our empire will be renewed. It is done. The IRW Ventress has been completely refitted with Borg-adapted Iconian technology and is by far the most powerful ship the Tal Shiar has ever come to pilot. This is the first step to reclaiming my people. The reclaiming of my people. The Iconians shall do our bidding, and all who stand in our way will be reduced to dust. Sir, according to this, the prototype Talura told us about is complete. We need to download and erase these logs, and then deal with the prototype itself. We can't allow the Tal Shiar to launch an assault on the Iconians. If they do, we will be facing a far, far worse war than one we already have. We have a number of spatial charges ready aboard the Catnip 4. We can have them sent over to ensure no data of the Borg experiments on Iconian technology survives. Right, so now... Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Now we place a number of spatial charges in specific areas around the ship, and you gotta be a little bit careful when doing this. Unfortunately, many of the one-star reviews of this mission resulted from this particular thing. So how we're doing this is, you see the little sparkles there. There are actually, what were they called? Isolinear chips. Objects, like about 1 inch below the ground that we're standing on, that you can interact with. And then it places one of the canisters, like so. Unfortunately, if you're standing right on top of it, you can get stuck in the canister. And we all know how getting stuck in the Foundry is fun, because you gotta load through all the maps. So, just don't get too close while you're setting all this up. It's unfortunately something I was never really able to figure out how to fix, per se. Because we don't have the capability in the Foundry like we do in regular Star Trek Online content, where it shows like the outline of what you're supposed to place when you're placing bombs or something, like in that Impressela mission. So this was the best alternative that I could do. So as long as you're careful, you won't get stuck. And so there's 6 charges that we need to place, and this was the last of them. I need more water. Your comm badge suddenly activates with static. You know, I never caught your name. Unfortunately, formalities will have to wait. Don't bother trying to respond to me. This is a one-way broadband transmission I'm hacking into your badge. Which doesn't really make any sense, but... you know, space magic. Anyway, I've alerted the remaining Tal Shiar on the station of your presence and the spatial charges I see you've been placing, and have ordered an evacuation of the station. For our plan to be complete, I'm afraid there's one detail I've left out for my own safety. Come find me and we can put this operation to an end for good. Transmission ends. I'm not sure what that was about. Kamek still hasn't told us exactly what this plan of his involves. We need to find him, though. By the sound of it, I guess he still needs an extraction from his current situation. So we need to find Kamek. And isn't it nice that he's conveniently right down his hall that we have yet to go through? There he is. I always like these pipes, by the way. They're really old and dated, but I still think they look really cool. They're really fun to add. They're actually meant to go on the ceiling. Like hanging from the ceiling, kind of like all the Borg tech is here. I did use these particular pipes, by the way, in Darkness in the Veil. They were all on the ceiling in the second area of the Tal Shiar base. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and talk to this Sub Commander Kamek here. Starfleet, well done indeed. However, I'm afraid your efforts to derail the Tal Shiar's intentions to renew the glory of the Romulan Star Empire and our homeworld are in vain yet again. How haughty is your precious Federation to believe you have the right to meddle in our sovereign affairs? Your efforts are laughable at best. We have already completed our weaponized warbird prototype with Iconian technology, which we will use to rightfully reclaim our rightful place in the galaxy. Those wretched Iconians will bow to our bidding. Romulus will live once again. Those Iconian scum and Romulans can wait, however. First, as ranking officer, I shall avenge our fallen allies in the Patron cluster and eliminate all who standing in our way, starting with you. Our hybrid ship is now fully operational, and under my command, none shall stand against us. I shall take my leave. Guards, kill the intruders! Before being away, gives you a small nod. Quick, get me mines. This is a huge fight. Actually, it's not that huge. It's only one group. But it's, once again, using a captain. So, I'm glad I put the mines down. That did a lot. Oh, I think one of the... they just released a Thalaron mine. Everyone, get back here! Get out of there. Oh. One of the things that the Romulans can do is they'll place Thalaron mines occasionally. You get on top of one of those things, you will die. Plain and simple as that. What are you... It's like they were targeting something. Anyway. Hello, this is the Cestron 4, obviously. I'd like to know what exactly you feds are doing inside the station. Every warbird on the outpost just launched is targeting your ship. Are targeting our ships. If this isn't part of your brilliant plan, good job! Fleet Admiral, we could use you back on the Catnip 4 right about now. Multiple hostile contacts just launched from the station, including what appears to be a prototype Talura told us about. We're currently engaging them, but we could use your support out here. Alright, so that's our cue to leave, and this is the final... Not the final area of the... Actually, you know, I'm gonna stop talking, because I don't remember what the final area of this map is. I need more water. Oh my word. Okay. Well, no, I was saying a moment ago that some Romulans can place Thalaron mines. They don't do as much damage as they used to, but back in the day, like around the time of Legacy of Romulus, those things were a one-shot kill. They had similar weapons to the Thalaron mines that Tholians can sometimes place, and they will one-shot kill you, no matter your health. It's an instant death if you get near those things, because they do like 900 damage through your shields. It's insane. Like I said, I don't know if they do that damage anymore, but I'm not really willing to test that theory. So I always stay way far away when I see one of those things placed. It's easy to see them too, because they're really big and they're really obvious. But anyway, here we are, and right there, the Iconian Borg Tal Shiar adapted warbird battleship. That's actually a really coolly colored version of the... Okay, well, the Mahalo is destroyed, so I need to go ahead and actually start fighting this thing now. It's a cool version of the Dyson warbird. So We just thought Mahalo get destroyed there, and I think the Cestron got destroyed there too, unfortunately. But thankfully you have those two ships to kind of help back you up with this fight, and also the station just blew up over there too. Oh no, the Cestron survived! With full health. Oh wait, no, that's the new ship. Never mind. The Mahalo's not doing too hot though. Poor guy has 0 health. Hang on. Let me help you there, buddy. There you go. Okay, you're full health again. How much did you? You have 7,000 hit points. That's so cute. Anyway. Sir, the rogue Tal Shiar station has been destroyed. The spatial charges we placed must have gone off prematurely sometime during the firefight. What happened? Oops. You really have some sort of personal vendetta with destroying Tal Shiar stations on a whim, don't you? What? Can you really blame me? Besides, no one was left. Everyone evacuated, remember? Not to mention, it's not like you were going to leave the station intact anyway. Those charges were there for a reason, after all. I just helped it along a little. Regardless, all the rogue Tal Shiar ships have been dealt with. Any remaining ships, escape pods, my ship can take into custody. What about the prototype and Kamek? Our dear friend Kamek. I almost forgot about him. Such a pity. He was on the prototype when it popped. Fleet Admiral, now that things have settled, sensors are picking up an escape shuttle in the area, but it's Romulan. It probably... Jeez. Speak correctly, Nizam. Good grief. Okay. Yeah, we got a tiny little Romulan shuttle right there. Who's not doing too hot, but anyway. It's Romulan. Probably some of the Tal Shiar escaped during the firefight. They're severely damaged, but life support appears to be stable. Hail them. Ah, Fleet Admiral, it's good to see you again. I guessed your rank, apparently. Now that I think about it. I was hoping your ships would survive all that. I suppose I have a bit to explain, don't I? Kamek, you're alive! Of course he's alive. I knew he would be, obviously. Kamek, I think you owe us all an explanation as to what's going on here. First, you help us by boarding the station and erasing all the research of Borg, Iconian adapted technology, some order of those words that I said. Then you leave us at the hands of the guards and attack us with the remaining rogue Tal Shiar ships? I apologize for the ruse, Admiral, but you must understand my position. Allow me to explain myself. I have been working my way up in the ranks of the Tal Shiar as a spy for the Republic intelligence for quite some time now. However, with Sayla's fall to power, my progress became fluid, you may put it. I was able to work my way into one of the many rogue groups still fighting for Sayla's cause after her collapse with relative ease. Over the course of a few months, I was promoted to the group's leader, Commander Talura, as her second in command. In such position, I was able to follow the group's dealings closely, sometimes personally. When researching the fallen Iconian cruiser, along with Borg technology ensued, I did my best to diffuse the situation. I knew I could not do it alone. I tampered with one of their Warbird deep space communications array and sent out a transmission as an alert, hopefully to any allied intelligence units. Obviously, I succeeded in that part. The Romulan intelligence was the first to contact me, and sent Valar and his crew to my aid. However, Valar deviated from my plan and hindered us both at a disadvantage. Jeez, point taken. Regardless, in his attack, the group was separated from their leader. Talura was presumed dead, and as such, I was promoted to the group's leader. When the ship appeared on Pilatus space, I could only assume you were working with the Federation intelligence or Valar himself. And then you helped us, but that still doesn't explain why you tried to get us killed. Yes, and for that I apologize. The Tal Shiar are cutthroat types. If any of the members had known, I was about to say memorations. I don't know why I saw the word Federation somewhere, but anyway, if any of the members had known I was working against them, the entire operation would have been compromised. I took a gamble that you were a competent officer, could handle yourself in a firefight. Putting you and your crews at risk is perhaps a poor choice in hindsight, but it worked nonetheless. That's it? That's all you have? All that to just save face? By all intents, the Tal Shiar will presume me as dead after the events that have befallen here today. My work, however, is far from over. Many more rogue Tal Shiar groups still exist, and must be dealt with. I can now focus my attention on them as well. I question your methods to get this all done, Kamek, but the fact that the Tal Shiar group is defeated, and all your research pertaining to Borg Iconian technology adapted are destroyed, although a bumpy road, I call this a job well done, I say. My ship can return you to the Republic if you wish. I doubt you'll get very far in that shuttle. That would be most appreciated, Captain. Well, it's been... I need more water. Jeez. Okay. Well, it's been real. We have to do this another time, blah, blah, blah. If we're all done here, I believe I and Gara need to speak to a certain Telmera about some contract issues. So beat some bad guys, stop the galactic war. I'd say today was pretty good. Charlie, thank you for your assistance in this mission. I will be sure to note your exemplary work done today in my report to Commander Burgess. I hope our paths collide once more in the future. You are an experienced officer to work with. Have a safe flight back to Starfleet, Admiral. Thank you, Captain. And that, everyone, was Unearthed in Shadows. That was the end of my third and final Foundry mission. I'll be honest, it was kind of hard to bring myself to do this mission. Not because I didn't want to, but just because, Star Trek Online means a lot to me. It's a way to escape. It's a way to tell stories that I didn't know I wanted to tell. Like with the introduction to Nizam and his crew. When I first started playing Star Trek Online, it was primarily because a friend of mine suggested it because the game was free. And we were looking for a game to play on YouTube that was free. He lost interest, but I never did. Something about the game stuck with me. And over time, I found that I enjoyed creating stories, creating characters that not only represented me, as such as Nizam, but also represented a story that I enjoyed telling, such as the introduction of Valar and Garen, how my bridge officers came to be by actually gameplay, how I was able to explain things I experienced in the actual canon game in my own version of the story, in my own version of canon. And it became really fun, and the Foundry was a big outlet for that. The fact that it's all being just removed is heartbreaking. And I know that the devs have said that nothing's being deleted necessarily. Everything's going to still be existing, obviously, but that doesn't really change the fact that players aren't going to be able to edit their stories anymore. They won't be able to see their stories anymore. That's why I've been recording these videos, because these videos are going to be the very last thing you'll ever see of Nizam and his stories. I don't mean I'm going to stop making videos or anything, but we're never going to hear from Valar and Garen and the Tal Shiar Romulan bases. We're never going to see Nizam alongside your captain in another adventure like this. At least not in this kind of fashion. And it's heartbreaking that that is happening. I have many more opinions and things I would want to say concerning the Foundry and how I feel about it. But I feel that's not a place for this video. For this video, I wanted to showcase the last story that I wrote years ago of Nizam, Gareth, and the rest of his crew, and then Valar, Garen, and his crew as well, and how you got to play along and help solve a mystery and go on an adventure with a cast of characters that meant something to me. So, if you're still watching this video up to this point, an hour and a half in, thank you. Your guys' support on YouTube means a lot to me. So, thank you. And thank you to Star Trek Online for allowing us to have this outlet of creativity and freedom to make stories such as this. It meant more than I think the devs will ever know to anyone. So, thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.